We found Katie and Stephen Little B. Miller's bizarre Nazi birthing ritual. I'm going to show you, but if you missed the memo and you're like, Katie and Stephen Little Bitch Miller successfully procreated again, yes, I regret to inform you, they gave birth to a whole new type of dog whistle. And listen, most parents, when they give birth, they are worried about maybe sleep training, but the internet suspects that the Millers are worried about how soon they can start ICE and immigration enforcement training, or maybe how to create the worst, least listened to podcast ever training. But for real, everyone is talking about Katie Miller's baby, but not because of what you think. Not because it's possibly Elon's or because it breaks your brain to think about 2 or 3 of the most evil people ever creating a baby the old-fashioned way, or for any other reason that you'd expect. What should have been a routine birth announcement has instead sparked a firestorm online, with critics claiming that the baby's birth story itself may have exposed something much bigger. We're talking about a hidden ritual of coded symbolism that has circulated throughout extremist movements for decades. At first, this theory might sound completely absurd, very Reddit-y, but once people started connecting the symbols, the coded symbols, and the numeric references and historical associations that have long been linked to white nationalist and neo-Nazi movements, the controversy took on a new life of its own. So what exactly are people seeing that has them comparing newborn Miller to this Nazi tradition? I'm gonna show you. But real quick, I'm Loren Piretra. Willa Piretra is somewhere behind me, and we run this whole daily show, independent and network free, every single day. And we do it out of pure principle to never let Katie Miller catch up. Katie Miller, the woman married to Stephen Little Bitch Miller on purpose. It is Stephen Miller season. He could be scurrying out of your drain or hissing at the sun coming out of a trash can at any moment. Play it safe. Consider every action you take to support this podcast, every like, every sub, every follow across wherever you listen. It creates a protective barrier between you and Stephen Miller. And it helps us work towards a timeline where that man is in a windowless cage. So stay safe. We're going to start off by reading some tweets. So this announcement went down on June 10, Gemini. And the internet had a lot to say. Ugly fuck. That's a good one. Horrifying. Who would want to have sex with a lizard creature to create your spawn? You need to understand that there's a lot of other chatter online right now, and people keep bringing Elon Musk into this because Elon Musk is also an alleged baby daddy. And the internet, they love to check the Miller's paperwork because Katie's potential other Nazi baby daddy, Elon Musk, has been having a banner month. Just this week, we had news placing him amongst the wealthiest people in human history. His fortune keeps growing, as do the headlines involving an ever-evolving roster of offspring. So first, a little refresher on what I'm talking about here. Katie works for Elon. She actually left the White House to work for Elon Musk full-time. Katie then left Elon, walked out the door with her very fertile uterus. And then suddenly, within days, Elon Musk had a black eye. And then this is where, we started to pick up signs. He also broke man code of conduct when it comes to courtesy follow. So in corporate America, there's a little thing called a courtesy follow. Courtesy follow is when, you don't actually care what this colleague is posting online, or you think their family's kind of weird or whatever, but you courtesy follow them back anyway. It's just a respect thing that in corporate America, you got to play the game, as do you have to in the US government. So Elon Musk unfollowed Stephen Little Bitch Miller while all this was going down. It wasn't just a little unfollow, it was very dramatic. And it was just weeks after he had stolen his wife away from the White House where she was an aide. So then suddenly, bam, she's pregnant, and they're refollowing each other now because at the end of the day, they really do seem to love traditional family values. But listen, Elon Musk, we know he loves to impregnate people, and we've also covered in great detail here how Katie Miller is obsessed with him. Look at the chemistry when she had him on her podcast.
Who do you look up to the most?
The Creator.
What's your current position on God?
God is the Creator.
You don't believe in God, though, do you?
Well, I believe this universe came from something. People have different labels.
They were flirt whispering. And then there was weird messages that Elon Musk and Katie Miller were sending to each other on Twitter on Mother's Day. It's just a whole lot. So now, why does this matter besides the fact that we now have 3 Nazis in this picture and Elon Musk has become a trillionaire this week? And what I want to talk about before we get into to what I really need to show you today is the problem now is we've crossed a line where one person's money, Elon Musk's, is shaping things that belong to all of us. It shapes what news we see, what gets built, what policies get written, like K-hole tweets with unregulated power. So presidents, they face elections. CEOs, they face boards. Judges, appeals. Trillionaires, like Elon Musk, face nothing. We've capped every form of power in America except for the one you can buy. So I see a lot of simps defending him online. You could defend Elon Musk all day, but Elon Musk does not know your name, doesn't care if you die uninsured, doesn't care about your rent, not your job security, doesn't care about your medical bills, your grocery prices. He would not cross the street for you. If you are not a billionaire, you are not a senator, you're not a venture capitalist, you're not writing his contracts that shape his companies and his bag. If you are just one person participating in an economy that benefits at scale from somebody with no historical comparison to their wealth, and you're doing that for free, you're simping on that for free, while he's creating a Musk Miller spawn, you got some introspective work to do. Real quick, today's episode is brought to you by Brickhouse Nutrition. Everyone's talking about weight loss injections because the results are so dramatic. They work by lowering your blood sugar and reducing your appetite. So what if you're looking to lose weight, but you're not interested in those painful weekly injections, especially when you hear about some of those intense side effects? Well, that's why doctors created a weight loss supplement called Lean, and the results are remarkable. The studied ingredients in Lean have been shown to lower your blood sugar, burn fat by converting it to energy, and curb your appetite and cravings so you're not as hungry. But listen, Lean is not for the casual dieter with only a few pounds to lose. The doctors at Brickhouse Nutrition created Lean for frustrated dieters with 10 or more pounds to lose. And let's get you started today with 20% off and free rush shipping so you can add Lean to your healthy diet and exercise plan. You can visit takelean.com and enter code Loren, that's Loren, for your discount. That's promo code Loren at takelean.com. And then somehow in the middle of all this, Call Her Daddy enters the conversation. So Katie Miller is so delusional that in a world full of 8.3 billion people, she can't even get 60,000 to sub to her podcast. She is frozen in time at the 58,000 follower mark. And she will stop at nothing to get in everyone's faces. She will not stop at any abuela kidnapping quota. She will not slow her desperate attempts to get people to listen to her. And she still can't do it. And this Delulu cuck mama called herself the Call Her Daddy of the Republican Party, Katie Miller. And I'm the LeBron James of parallel parking. I'm the LeBron James of replying to text messages. I'm the LeBron James of remembering to respond to anything. Call Her Daddy launched in 2018 and skyrocketed from 12K listeners to 2 million listeners in under 2 months. 10 million listeners per episode is what they were quoting in 2023. And Katie Miller, poor Katie Miller, she can't even cross that 58K barrier. And she's been ruining everyone's lives trying. But you know what? This is where things really heat up. Katie Miller and her Nazi birthing ritual. So critics are pointing to the baby's name. So the baby's name, by the way, is Hawthorne Hayes. The first thing that the internet noticed is both of these names begin with the letter H, creating the initials HH.
Hawthorne Hayes. And at first, when I read that, I thought, it's interesting that Stephen Miller chose to give his child the initials HH, but surely that's a coincidence. Maybe he and Katie are just, the type of suburban white folks that really loves alliterative names. So I looked up the names of his other 3 children, and it turns out, no, they're not really into alliterative names. In fact, Hawthorne Hayes is the first time that they've given one of their children an alliterative name. And then it occurred to me, surely, they wouldn't be quite so blatant as to give their child the initials HH using names that add up to 14 letters. But turns out, no, yeah, actually they would.
Might seem harmless until you get to the next step. H is the 8th letter of the alphabet. So HH becomes 88. Following so far? And in extremist circles, 88 has been long recognized as a coded reference to because it represents the 8th letter repeated twice. The rabbit hole doesn't stop there. Almost immediately, people began pointing out that the number 88 rarely exists in isolation within white supremacist symbolism. So historically, it's often paired with another number, 14. The number refers to the infamous 14 words, a white supremacist slogan that has been used for decades by neo-Nazi groups. So, together, those numbers are frequently combined as 14-88, one of the most recognizable codes associated with white nationalist movements. And then that's when the internet did what the internet always does. People started counting letters. They started counting characters and looking at the name for some patterns, looking for anything that might connect the baby's name back to 14, as well as to 88. We've seen a lot of screenshots spreading and a lot of chatter in Reddit and on Threads and TikTok dissecting every detail. So a little observation about the initials, HH, quickly evolved into a sprawling theory that revealed that in the moment of giving birth to this baby, the spawn of Musk, Miller, whatever, she decided that she was going to be deliberate and nailing in a pattern of symbolism. This is not a random name choice. Now, it's important that we separate some theory from evidence here because we're a woman of integrity and principle. There's no public proof that this was chosen as a reference to Nazi ideology. And Hawthorne and Hayes are names that don't inherently have extremist meaning. But the reason the story exploded is because of the sequence that they spotted. HH, 88, and references to 14 that have been long documented in history. There is a long, detailed history within extremist movements. So whether that's evidence of anything meaningful or, just Katie Miller just pulling a name out of the sky and it just happened to falling into this Nazi code, we don't know. But we know with certainty that there was something intentional here in her birthing ritual around this name. So could be hidden, could be the mechanics, but a normal name gets broken into letters like that. Numbers get pulled into historical frameworks. They get reapplied into the modern day Miller Musk child. We don't know. Seems like something that would definitely make for a good dinner time story with your friends or over drinks or over coffee or water cooler talk. So again, I'm Loren Piretra. Willa Preacher is on the couch huffing at me. I got to toss the ball. We do this every single day out of pure principle and absolute refusal to let people like this get ahead in life. So if you've enjoyed this deep dive and this narrative and this little chatter, please make sure you follow us across wherever you listen, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, we're everywhere. And we do this independently every single day. So leave us a comment. Let me know what you think. We'll keep digging in here.